last week, Collingwood are a prelim final team, so they lost that. They should have won, probably. They lost, but today's the one. I mean, looking at where each club is at and what's happened over summer, the Saints were clearly favourites in this game. And, yeah, they did have their opportunities. Let's not take anything away from Melbourne. They were outstanding today. But, yeah, the Saints are going to be bitterly disappointed. 0-2, the summer they've had, and they go up to, I think they go up to Giants Stadium next week to take on the Giants, who are on the rebound. They're got a lot of injuries, the Giants, so the Saints can certainly win that game. But as Hawthorn showed in opening round, it doesn't matter who's out for the Giants. They're a tough proposition out there in Western Sydney. So they've got the Giants, and then the week after that, they have the Brisbane Lions at Marvel. Now, Brisbane have got guys out injured, but it's the two-time reigning premier who are a bit wounded. They'll be, they're not just going to go away. So the next 2 weeks are enormous for St Kilda.
When you go 0-4, you're really chasing your tail, aren't you?
Well,
after that?
Sydney, what were they, 0-5? They couldn't get back last year. If you look at the situation of where it was, he had actually been deep forward for the 3 or 4 or 5 minutes leading up to that. I haven't got the exact timings, but he'd been there for a little while.
Yep.
The ball hadn't been down there. The first time it came in, he takes a contested mark and kicks a goal, right? And then he comes straight off. He hadn't been in the midfield. We could understand if he'd been in the midfield for 4 or 5 minutes and he needed a rotation. They know if they need a rotation. But as Naz was coming off, he was looking at the bench, sort of putting his arms out, going,
dirty,
surely I go back on. I don't get it. And even if it is a sports science and a GPS thing, I reckon throw that out the window, because young Tolstrup's in a position he doesn't want to be in. He's playing as the deepest defender, a position he's not used to. He's playing on a superstar of the game who's got a history of being able to do the miraculous things late.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of reasons why it just didn't seem to stack up. And he then was off for 5 minutes.
And they couldn't get him back on.
They couldn't get him back on.
They were looking for the right player to come off.
I
think they wanted Ryan to come off.
They wanted Ryan to come off for him, but there were 2 or 3 rotations before that. Surely he's the first guy back on, and you can sort out that other stuff.
Yep.
I don't know. It just seems a bit out of whack. Ross will get asked about it, but they'll have the reasons, normal rotations.
The phys ed, as Andrew Demetrio used to call them.
But
so
surely the situation of the game can overrule those things at times.
So the way it works is, just to let everyone know, these things are pre-done, aren't they? Like, okay, you're going to come off at this, you're going to go on here, you're going to come off at this stage. There's nothing really on the fly. They're pre-planned before the game. If there's an injury, it probably changes.
Yeah.
But all these, when players come on and off the ground, it's all pre-planned.
I'm pretty sure it's all with GPS situation. You've got your rotations with certain guys on the bench, but surely with a guy like him in the situation of the game, you can change that. I can't speak highly enough of Tolstrup today. Look, Naz has kicked 3, so he's had an influence on the game, 18 touches and 3 goals. I'm not saying he hasn't had an influence, but he nullified him enough, and he didn't end up being the match winner. So, I think he's done enough to get a little vote there.
Down to you, Jack.
Oh, thanks very much, and thanks for your time, Jake. What a win. That was an absolute nail-biter.
Yeah, it was a great game, wasn't it? I thought the first half there was some things that we could work on, and I thought in the second half we were able to execute, and it's fun football at the minute.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you about Jacob Van Rooyen. 6 goals, career best for him. 16 goals last year for the whole year. It's an amazing performance.
Yeah, he's someone that I felt like when he went away at the end of last year, he was really disappointed with how his form was. And you look at him, he's a young fellow. I think he lost 5 or 6 kilos, and you can just see the dynamic movement that he's got now. And obviously the way that we're moving the ball is helping him a lot. But the way that he was leading at the ball today, and then it was probably 6 goals straight. He was kicking unbelievably, little fella. So proud of him as a mate, and as a footballer, he's only going to get better.
Jake, Richo here. Fantastic win today, mate. Such an exciting brand of footy to watch. I think the Melbourne supporters would have loved what they saw today. You're clearly playing differently under Stephen King. The other thing I loved was there was some different names that we're looking at. Cully, big moments. Harry Sharp, big moments. Tolstrup's job on Nasiah Wanganeen, Miller. These aren't names that we're normally talking about with the Melbourne Footy Club. I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I think, as an older guy now, coming back to the football club, you saw the desire and the hunger that these guys rocked up with day one with. And, those 3 guys especially. But, I'm going to talk about my backline boys and guys like Harry Petty, Daniel Turner, Blake Howes. You obviously got the general down there in Salo and myself. And, these young guys, they came back really firing in pre-season, and they got the reward today, and they're only going to get better. And I can't wait to keep playing with them for as many years as I can.
So, Jake, the shift in game plan and style looks pretty evident to me. I mean, you guys never lose contested possession. Your clearance numbers, today you got beaten in both of those areas, but just your ability to then force turnovers and score off the back of it, 70 points. You must have been happy with that. It looks like a good brand of footy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's just the way the game's going. I think it's important that you win the contest, that 50-50 and that you can get the ball going your way, but at the same time it's about everyone around the ball and what decisions they're making. And you can see when we get it right, we're pretty potent, and I think the Forwards are licking their lips at the minute.
Yeah, the fast ball movement, Van Rooyen obviously loved that. Some really good looks at it. Wasn't getting plonked on his head, so exciting for him. The other thing I loved was just it showed how well drilled you were when you take that mark. I think it was Cully takes that mark about 50 out. There's a bit over 2 minutes to go. You're able to suck most of the time off the clock with uncontested marks. You didn't have shots at goal. That just says you were well drilled in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's something that we've really worked on over the summer, and we've had moments in training where we probably haven't got it right, and we've watched the vision and we've spoken about it as a group, and obviously today we've learnt from it, and that was pretty big of Jai. He could have gone back and kicked the goal, but instead passed it over, and then another guy kicks it, and before you know it, we've won the game. So it's good that we're a young group. We've got old heads around them, but it was more the young guys that took the initiative and really played that way, and that's just exciting because it sort of takes the load off the leaders that have been at the footy club for 5 or 6 years now. Max, obviously Vines didn't play today, myself. Trent Rivers being the leadership group. I think that it just takes the load off that, and these guys, they're stepping up, and I'm bloody excited, that's for sure.
A lot of change, Jake, and a lot of change for you with no Stephen May. I mean, you two have been a partnership for years, and a great partnership. How did it feel not having him out there for the first time? Oh,
yeah, obviously we miss him, but I think it just gives opportunities to other guys. We sort of earmarked Harry Petty to come back this year, first day of pre-season, and he didn't put a foot wrong all pre-season. Had a bit of a head knock sort of 5 or 6 weeks ago. They really looked after him, and he was fantastic today. And then Daniel Turner, I think last year sort of proved that he's a young player to watch, and I've sort of been working with those two a lot. And we've still got Tommy Mack down here as well. He does a lot of work with the young guys, and they're only going to get better and better. And Disco, I think he's only maybe 22, 23, and Petty's sort of 26, so they're sort of coming into their prime now, and I'm just trying to pass on my wisdom. I've played 190 odd games now, and I just try and help them out as much as possible, because they're the future of the club, and that's what gets me out of bed every day, to come and train with those guys, and they sort of keep me young.
What about Brodie Mychek? Just a great senior head to go and get from another club, and you know what you're going to get from Brodie. Works his bum off, went down back in that last bit and took that big intercept mark, hit the scoreboard. He must be a good guy to have come into your club, premiership player. He'd be handy for this young group as well.
Absolutely. I think that you can see, the work that he's done with Jacob Van Rooyen over the pre-season has been fantastic. His start wasn't too well. That set shot where he'd kick it out in the full, the big fella, he's usually a great kick, and sort of just went up to him and said, don't worry about that one, mate, it's a bit of a mulligan. So he ended up kicking, I think, 3 or 4 more. So, when he come down and back and took the intercept mark, I'm not sure if you saw it on the broadcast, but Daniel Turner, instead of helping him up, the poor fella was hurt, and Daniel Turner was getting to the crowd and making sure they're revved up.
We did see that.
We'll talk to Disco about that later on. Checkers wasn't happy with him, but he's just a great bloke to have around the club, not only football-wise, but just culture. Like, he's someone that's, seen the best. Collingwood, they were the best sort of 2 or 3 years ago and have been a great side, and he just brings over wisdom of that forward line, and you can see now that he's sort of helping those young guys evolve, and they're only going to get better from him being there.
Hey, Jake, we absolutely enjoyed the game, mate. It was a cracker, and well done. Thank you very much for having a chat.
Thanks, guys.